Raghu, and welcome to the Early Advantage. I am your host, Pallavi Chopra. As an HR leader, I have worked with hundreds of young professionals in last 19 years. And I realized that the biggest hurdle they face is not the technical skills. They are the unspoken rules of the game, where they fumble at times. So that's why I started this conversation series where I connect with seasoned leaders to get the playbook they used to build their own exceptional careers. So, in that line, I have my fantabulous guest today, Raghu Menon, who is a living proof of a powerful belief he holds, which is if you don't have a dream, you become a part of someone else's. Raghu has spent 34 years building his own, starting as a design engineer and rising to become the managing director of Witchner India. Along the way, he navigated the trenches at global powerhouses like Honeywell, Shapurji Palunji, and Thermex, learning how to lead on both a national and a global scale. He knows what it takes to run a company, to launch a startup, and turn a struggling business around because he has done it all. And today, he has graced with us with his presence and to share his playbook. Welcome, Raghu, once again.
Hi, thanks, Pallavi, and thanks for this fantastic intro that you're given about me. It just sounds like you're putting me next to someone like a Steve Jobs. Thanks a lot. Okay. Yes.
So, Raghu,
Mm.
I would like to take you all the way back when you started, and that was in early 90s somewhere with Thermex as a process engineer, whereafter you got your degree as a mechanical engineer. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, I got a degree as a mechanical engineer, and then I got in to become a process engineer with Thermax.
Great. So,
Yeah.
what was that biggest or widely incorrect assumption to begin with you had about the professional world when you started long ago?
Yeah. Um, a fresh graduate out and getting into a company, a corporate which was so big, my expectation was the not, not I'm just not talking about Thermax per se, the big corporates which are there. My expectation was that everything is so very perfect, all the processes are so beautifully laid down, and things just happen in a very very synchronous manner. Well, I was taken for a complete surprise, okay, because things were not as perfect as what I thought.
Oh,
But then I realized it should not be also so very perfect, especially when you're in a business which is absolutely customized in nature. So that was the first kind of a learning that I got when I got into a corporate.
interesting. Yeah, you rightly said all established organizations, we have that kind of expectation to begin with. So you
Right.
have spent great 19 years at Thermex, almost 19 years there, and you have moved from engineering into sales and eventually into business management. Yeah. And so I was curious to know that in that long tenure of yours, you must have seen how things really get done. And if I may ask, and that is something which we shy away from saying, but it always exists, it is the politics. So, what is that first political lesson you had to learn while navigating your ways in Thermex or your earlier organization?
First of all, Pallavi, the word politics is very frankly a very positive word for me.
Hmm.
Okay. If politics is which is used with respect to creating something and building something. Okay. So that is something very positive if you use it in the right way. Politics, if it gets into kind of a manipulation, is where exactly the whole thing starts going here and there and things don't really get straightened up. I have gone through my sessions, okay, and one of the sessions which I should say, which kind of made me political thinking was, when I got into the company, I
Hmm.
had a huge set of people who are typically from those reputed colleges of IITs and RECs, which is nowadays called as NITs,
Right.
and the Pilanis and all this kind of colleges coming in. And I, coming from a very simple college, many times I used to feel lost with these legends around me, and which developed a kind of a complex in my mind. And navigating that particular complex took me some time. And the politics that typically happened there was I started creating stories. I started creating stories of glory. I started creating stories of representation, trying to make me look like a Greek god.
Okay.
But towards the end, I finally realized, okay, whatever you do, it's your work, how you do, and secondly, how you represent your particular work,
Hmm.
and your appetite to learn is something which puts you across and up across all these particular situations.
Great. I think, as you said, the visibility backed with great work on the ground, that's what it takes, because visibility sometimes people think is political. So thank you for sharing that. Another important aspect as we begin our careers, and one word which brings a lot of memories, at least for me, is about the first boss. So, as a young engineer and those days, what was one thing which your first manager did that, which you thought it's not, you couldn't understand or comprehend at that time, but when you look back in hindsight, you realize was a brilliant lesson in leadership?
In fact, I should say during this course of your initial phase of career, you're not kind of restricted to one boss, especially if you're working in a corporate with multi-departments, multi-disciplines, etc. You're not restricted to one particular kind of a boss. You keep shifting bosses. At
Hmm.
least that's the case that happened with me. And I came across some real good bosses, and I also came across some real difficult bosses. Um, One thing which I learned very commonly from all these particular bosses was is a boss is able to see at least 5 steps ahead of you. Most of the time you feel one particular work is not the right kind of work to be done, and still it is being forced on you, or it is being asked for you to be done. Okay, you get muffled with that. But when you really look at the depth of it, he is able to see at least 5 steps before you, and that's why that particular work is given to you. So today, when I look back and I analyze those particular situations, I see a lot of sense in what was being told to me, which I was getting rattled with. So
Yeah.
this is one lesson which I would like to give to the youngsters, saying that when a particular work is assigned to you, it is not something like you like it or you not like it. It is basically for the goal of the organization and goal of the business. So the boss is able to see something different than what you are able to see. So this one aspect has to be very strongly understood very early in life and career.
Great. Thank you for bringing that up, because it's about the wisdom of the workplace or the people who have been
Right.
around longer than you. Sometime as a
Yeah.
youngster, we may discount it. So, rightly put. Thank you for that. As we move forward, and you have been in the energy and infrastructure sector, which is having incredibly high stakes, very difficult to sometimes comprehend for someone who is not seen that, or maybe coming from services or other IT kind of ITS kind of services where their things are different. So, can you tell us any story of your first epic professional mistake, maybe from your time in the early career, which was a stomach drop moment in a way?
Mistake is something which I should say I've done many. No, I don't know which one to pick up from. Okay. I mean, especially in the initial phase of the career, many, many, many mistakes. When I look back, I said, oh my God, how did I really do that? If I look back 25 years back or 30 years back, how really I did that. But this one particular mistake is something which will always stay in my mind. Is those days there were no cell phones. So I got a call from a gentleman who asked me to call him back,
Mm-hmm.
and it was on a landline. I did not get that message. Somebody else received that message, and that person genuinely wrote down on a paper saying, Raghu, so and so person called up, please call him back.
Okay.
I saw that shit. I said, I don't know who this person is, and I just ignored it. The second time the call came again, and this time again a similar kind of a incident happened where I didn't call back that person. And then I understood that this particular person was basically calling up from the chairman's from the managing director's office, and it was basically for a very big assignment where I was being looked at very early phase of my career. And just that one small mistake of not calling back generated an opinion that I cannot be trusted,
Hmm.
and I missed that particular opportunity. And I know that, but I don't want to get into details of what that opportunity was, but it was kind of a career changing opportunity because the person who took up, I know where he is today.
Hmm.
Yeah. So this is one stomach drop moment, I should say, which I many times think back and say, of course, it's not a question of regret, but it's a big learning which I took with myself. So
Yeah.
today, even if a missed call comes from an absolutely unknown and untouched number, I make it a point to call back that number.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and that's something which many of us don't do, and maybe missing on the opportunities in the form of missed call. So,
Right.
with that, we'll move forward. And another space which I wanted to understand more from you, that beyond your official job description which you had, what was that real win, that moment when you felt that you are adding value, unique value in your own way, and you are no more considered as a new person or a fresher out of college? What was that win?
Um, this particular incident resounds very well with me, and it can never go out of my memory. Is uh, I just moved out of my off. I mean, I was in the company for some maybe 5, 6 years, and I was a little bit old into the organization, and I just walked up to the company gate, and I saw one candidate coming out, and he had just come out of a fresh interview with one of my colleagues within the company,
Okay.
and he was standing near the gate, and he was standing at a kind of a place and trying to have a cup of tea, and I could see his face was completely down, and like tears were popping out of his eyes. Okay, and just out of curiosity, I just walked up to him and said, I mean, what's wrong? Is something disturbing you or some personal issue with you? He said, no, I came with a lot of expectations, and I really wanted this particular job because this is something what I really learned during my college time, and I was not getting an opportunity to get into something like this. But
Mm-hmm.
here is an opportunity which came in, and out of most of the questions, I could not answer even 70 or 80% of them, and I think I've lost the opportunity. And tears started rolling down his eyes. Just sort of curiosity, I just had a very casual talk with him, and we were I was checking out his knowledge about the subject. And trust me, Pallavi, I found that guy fantastically good.
Oh, okay.
I took his name, I took his number, and I told him, let me see what I can do. I don't assure you anything, but let me see what I can do. I went back, I spoke to my colleague, I spoke to the HR person. I said, seems to be a good candidate. Maybe he did not have a good time during that particular interview. That doesn't mean he can be really looked down. Why don't you give him a chance? And for the grade that he was to be taken in, he was taken a grade below or maybe a 2 grades below. He got into the company, and he's still there within the company. And today
Oh,
he's at the position of a senior vice president.
oh, that's
So, this is one incident which really, makes me feel very proud that, okay, no way connected onto the job. I'm out. But this is a value which I brought into the organization, and more than that, to a person, to an individual.
true. Yeah, I mean, I think taking bet on someone you don't know and helping them out goes long way. So I'm sure that person is thankful, and it's a great memory for you as well. Yeah.
Yes.
So we talked about being belongingness. You talked about that epic professional mistake. At the same time, when we start doing well in our careers, especially in the early phase, we think that we can never hear a no. Any rejection at that point of time can be a really downer for someone. So if you have to think back again, and any rejection which you can remember, which was kind of a blessing in disguise, can you share about that?
Uh, like I said, many opportunities I missed, many mistakes I missed. I faced many rejections also in life. Okay, professional life. Okay. Um, this, okay. I mean, I'm just trying to click back into my memory and say which is the one that I should pick, because I have three, four in front of me, and you don't have the time to hear all four of them. Okay. So I'll just pick one of them. Um, this is one rejection which was really really funny. I should say is I applied for an interview which is outside the company, and it's for a new job. I went in for a interview. The interview went fantastic, and it was to be a position in Dubai where I'm supposed to relocate out of Mumbai.
Okay.
And interview went very well. The panel liked me very well. Everything was perfect. But then weeks went by, months went by. I never heard from them. Okay, so I kind of understood, okay, maybe I lost the job.
Hmm.
And just exactly after 1 year, I interviewed the person who interviewed me and who had rejected me. And I interviewed that particular person to get into the company where I was. So when I look at it, I feel that is a blessing in disguise which came that I didn't take up that particular job because the person who was interviewing me himself was looking for another job. So
Oh,
this is, I would say, kind of a practical and a funny example which came together.
yeah, that definitely sounds like a blessing in disguise and how tables
Yes.
can literally turn in this scenario. So,
Right.
you, as you said, that you had spent almost 2 decades at Thermux, and after that you moved to Honeywell, which would have been a monumental decision of a change. So, if I may ask that, what was that sliding door moment for you, that unexpected turn of events, which really helped you define the change in trajectory of your career?
You mean what made me change from one Thermax to Honeywell? Is that the question, or
You
can you
can
be a
talk.
little more deeper?
Sure.
Yeah.
You can either
Yeah.
share that, or you can even refer to your time spent in Thermex and say that what was that complete change in the trajectory of your career, which happened by serendipity or non-linear ways, because you started as an engineer and became a business leader in the long run.
Right. Yeah. So Pallavi, the way it goes is, um, I never ever expected that I would be leaving my first company. Okay, everything was perfect. The learning was good. The growing graph was good. Everything was going really good. The one point which made me really take this particular decision to shift or get into a new setup was the basic question that I asked myself: Am I learning more,
Hmm.
or am I getting plateaued, or I'm stopping at one point? Am I learning more? Is a question which has to continuously keep asking myself. So if I take a look at my long tenure with my first company, at every stage there has been changes and learnings which were coming in. And at one point I felt, okay, I need to be looking at something more to learn, and that's when this opportunity came in, and I took it up. So this was a trigger for it.
Yeah, so learning is, or the learner mindset is extremely important for you, as I
Yes.
gather. Great. Given your technical background, and you have grown as an engineer and further as I said, management leader, what is that one piece of conventional career advice you followed early on and that led you to a path which was and then you switched to being a business leader? Was there any advice, the worst advice which you followed in that regard, or anything around that respect?
Which I strongly believe then, and even I believe now, is today is your hunger and appetite to learn.
Hmm.
Okay, the more and more you have that hunger and appetite to learn today is what typically keeps you going. And then automatically you automatically start upskilling yourself, you automatically start learning new things, you start getting into things, start discovering things. Okay, because today the platform is so very open. So
Yeah.
for me, the only criteria was, what is it that I should do to learn furthermore? And that has been my trigger to change the jobs. Not many jobs, whatever jobs I changed
Yeah.
is been the main denominator, if you ask me.
Great. So, and now I'm going to ask you about some habits or mindsets which have lasted 30 plus years for you. Let me begin with
Mhm.
the initial 5 years, fresh out of engineering school. What was the most
Right.
overrated skill everyone told you around you to focus on? And what was the most underrated skill that actually made the biggest difference in your success?
Yeah. The most overrated skill which people keep saying, and even now they keep saying, is your ability to uh, communicate and network with people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something which has been an overrated skill within me, is what people have identified, and I also identify within myself. Because 34 years back, people with whom I have worked and connected, I still stay connected with them.
Hmm.
So that's the first part of the overrating part of it. The underrating part of it is, in the initial few years of my career, my look for perfection was too much.
Hmm.
So for anything and everything, I used to look for perfection. Okay. It's not a bad thing. It is something that you should always look at. But at the same time, one also needs to be practical to understand the situations around you, the circumstances, the people with whom you're working and the kind of environment you get around you to see how perfection can be achieved. So, lived with this particular concept for 4 5 years and wonder why somebody else is not able to do it when I'm thinking in that particular direction. But
Yeah.
today, I still look at perfection, but I have modulated it as per the requirements.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that contextualization is very critical for
Yeah.
any of your skills to flourish and become relevant.
Right.
Um, what about a boring superpower, a boring foundational skill which you mastered in your initial years and has paid highest dividends throughout your career? What would it be?
Let me think. What should I pick up and speak on that? Okay, fine. Let me pick this one up, which many of you can relate to. Okay. First of all, I'm a proud Mumbaite. Okay. Born and brought up in Mumbai, and Mumbai is in my blood. Okay. And every Mumbai deals with one common problem,
Hmm.
and that is living by the watch.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, like leave your house, catch a bus or an auto, go to the railway station, catch a local train, go to your destination. Everything is like by the watch.
Yeah.
Okay,
Very true.
the bus comes at this time, the local train leaves at this time. When you get down at Churchgate or Bombay CST, there is another bus which leaves at so and so time. Everything is by the watch. So, time pressure is the word I should use here. Okay. So, you automatically get into a time pressure and you start getting immune to it. You start loving it. You start liking it. Honestly speaking, although I was doing it continuously, at some point I felt, oh my God, this is just becoming a part of me. It's just becoming a shadow of me.
Hmm.
And I never liked it. It was sometimes it used to rattle me. Okay, although I used to enjoy it, but it used to also rattle me because what I was trying to do as a time pressure was not able to match with my job or match with my colleagues or match with my customers. It was not happening. So that used to rattle me very badly.
Hmm.
Today, when I look back, today I'm in Chennai, so life is not so much of time pressure. You have a little bit of relaxed time for yourself. When I look back and when I look at that particular time pressure which I imbibe with myself, trust me, I have become far and far disciplined because of that. So when I say timing, timing is a must. So if I if I go for a particular meeting, I ensure that I'm there on time. I don't miss. Even if the opposite person is late, it doesn't bother me anymore.
Hmm.
Or if the opposite person is early, I will go and apologize and say, "Oh, my sorry, I'm supposed to be at this time, and you're here. Thanks a lot for that." So this one thing is something which got imbibed in me very strongly,
Yeah.
which was very early in career.
Yeah, punctuality definitely is a great foundational skill to have, and people don't
Right.
realize that how it is, as you said, a shadow for someone.
Yes.
Um, Other thing I wanted to understand, and it has really lived with me, is the friendships you build at work. So, in the initial stages of your career, what were those genuine, lasting professional relationships that have served you well, and how did you nourish them? Because it is a competitive world at the end of the day.
Uh, it's a very tough and emotional question to answer because when you start as GETs and when you start fresh in your career, 25, 30 of you, you're almost at the all of you are at the same level.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the race starts. Um, Relationships from then to now, almost I should say close to 75 to 80% still stay with me,
Wow.
and that is something which I've nurtured. I've ensured that I've nurtured through networking, through constantly keeping in touch with them, and trying to see that once in a while we connect in some manner. Maybe it's a virtual manner or a physical manner. We connect. This kind of a platform I ensured from my side not to really miss. I also ensured because there are times when your colleagues, for some reason, are not responding back to you.
Hmm.
So you should be sensitive about it and not really get upset and stop being in touch with them. You could have some issues or problems which you may not be able to understand.
Yeah.
And that's the maturity that you have to get in as a person. And that's one platform which I developed within myself. As I told you, the initial phase of the career with all these guys coming from fantastic colleges around me. So I was always 2 steps behind. So it took me some time to catch up those 2 steps. So
Oh.
within that battery of friends, there were friends who pulled me to that particular level, saying, "Okay, you're behind. Okay, you're with us." So I really thank those friends too. Only one thing which I would give an advice to everyone is, which really happens very strongly in your initial phase of careers. Uh, do not compare yourself with your peers and your friends or your colleagues around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can always say why I did not get it, but never ask a question why he got it.
Very true.
So that's one advice I would like to give.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, as you said, those nurturing those relationship is a critical success factor for any
Right.
thing to survive. So thank you for bringing that up, Raghu. And now you are a managing director. I'm sure you are dealing with your board of directors on regular days, right? So if I talk about your personal board of directors, who were those early on personal board of directors who were cheerleaders for you, who were strategists with you, whom you were working, your go-to source for
Uh,
advice?
yeah. 3.5 decades, Pallavi, it's a very big journey. There are many who come and shape you in some manner, who kind of give you advices maybe for a spot which becomes a lifelong advice for you. So it's very difficult to pick up who are those people, because there are many who come and help you and shape you. And it becomes you as a professional. It's very important to recognize and acknowledge that. That's one
Hmm.
thing I should say. Okay. Now, I would like to pick up 3 individuals whom I would not like to name. I
Okay,
would call them individual A, individual B, and individual C.
sure.
Okay. Now, if I talk about individual A, is a kind of a boss with whom I work, and when I look back, okay, uh, I do each and everything, not do each and everything what he used to do.
Hmm.
So that was a big example for me to say how a boss should not be.
Yeah.
So this is what person A kind of built in me, saying, "Look at me and don't be like me." Okay.
Okay.
Although he didn't say that, but it was a learning for me.
Correct.
Boss, the person B was one of my most favorite bosses. I imbibed 75% out of him, not 100%, 75%. There are 25% which I did not imbibe, which I felt is not really right for leadership. So
Mm-hmm.
that 75% I imbibe from him, and 75% of me is exactly like him, the
Okay.
way he is. So he has shaped me in every manner, with respect to strategy thinking, with respect to touching people's life, with respect to how you can really modulate a government with a company with respect to growth patterns. All those things I learned out of him. Third is a very interesting person with whom my working career was very short,
Mm-hmm.
was very, very, very short. But till today, he remains my biggest mentor.
Hmm.
He has been an influence on me to really, really cultivate, to see how life has to be led, how you basically look at job, how you basically look at profession. And he's the guy who really first time understood the urge of earning, learning, and yearning both in me. And he said, looking at your profile, you should try to look at things which are cut out for a bigger space.
Okay.
He, even today, he's omnipresent with me. So we are regularly in touch. I still go back to him as a mentor. I talk to him. I take guidance from him. And he's the person who has been most instrumental to me.
Great.
I wish I could name him, but I don't think that's fair since we are talking about about an interview where more focused on
Uh,
principles and strategies, right? Yeah.
about your takeaways, which matter the most.
Yeah.
So last but not the least, I think
Mhm.
it's also important for someone to, along with work, to have those playful moments or those joyous moments as part of life. So, what brings you the joy? How do you de-stress or take your time out? in the early career span as well as now, if I may ask?
Okay. I'm happy you asked this question. The first thing about me as a person is I'm a big dreamer. Okay. I not only dream at night, I also dream during daytimes. So
Okay.
whichever free time I get, I dream. Okay. So whenever you're in a stressful situation, the first thing I do is I just dream as if I'm in Maldives or I'm vacationing with my friends somewhere in Croatia, or if I've gone for a jungle safari in Kenya. I just dream.
Okay.
Okay, so that kind of de-stresses me a lot, and this I did it right in my initial phase of my career. When you are under stress because of work, when you're under stress because of your boss, or stress because of the client, and you know you can't solve it, you know that this cannot be done, but
Hmm.
it is right in front of you and you have to close it and kill it. But
Hmm.
I can't do it. What do I do? So I just break myself out and just think of those times, the college times when we were in college, the cultural programs what we had. I just start
Okay.
dreaming all that.
Oh, nice.
So I just break out of it. One skill which I developed during the course is which de-stresses me very much is my habit of writing white papers. So
Oh.
whatever comes through as an experience, I keep writing it down, whether it is professional, technical, personal, human resource related, admin related. I keep writing them down. That de-stresses me quite a bit.
Hmm.
Apart from that, of course, you can say movies, songs, reels, Instagram. This is
Okay.
all kind of part B to me. Yeah.
Oh, great. I think I've read about it that writing is actually one of the most cathartic things one can do. And you said that you use imagination in a more creative way. So, worrying is a bad use of imagination. And I think what you do is a great use of imagination. On that note,
Yes.
thank you so much, Raghu, for sharing your journey with us. It was delightful to have you, and we have worked together long ago, but it was great to connect to you and understand your 30 years and many more years to come. Thank you for being part of this. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot, Pallavi. I hope this particular session can really be resounding to many young individuals who'll be looking at corporate life to come in. And I wish them all the best. And wishing you also all the best for starting something as dignified as this. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.